So, you think you know Arsène Lupin, the gentleman thief, the master of disguise. But what if his greatest heists, the real masterpieces, weren't about jewels or paintings at all? What if they were about something else? Today we are pulling back the curtain and deconstructing the absolute genius behind the myth.
Yeah, 1,000 disguises. That's the image everyone has, right? This phantom who can just vanish into thin air. But here's the thing. The disguises are just a magic trick. They're a distraction. His real genius isn't about the costumes. It's about his uncanny ability to see right through people.
So, to really get who Lupin is, you gotta look past all that smoke and mirrors and find the man. We need to see what made him, what shaped his incredible methods and how he perfected the art of playing people like a violin.
And we're going to do that by diving into two absolutely pivotal stories from his career. First, we'll see the fiery origin story that literally forged his personal code, and then we'll see him at the absolute peak of his game, a flawless puppet master, pulling all the strings from the shadows.
All right, first stop, we're jumping in the time machine and heading back to 1894. We're about to meet Lupin before he was even Lupin. Back then, he was just a brilliant, kind of proud, and still very rough around the edges young man named Raoul d'Andressi.
And this is where things get really interesting. He slams right into his equal and his total opposite, Joséphine Balsamo, the Countess of Cagliostro. Now, she is mesmerizing, she's brilliant, and she is a completely amoral mastermind. She's basically his dark mirror, a terrifying vision of what he could become if he ever lost his conscience.
And let me tell you, this was not just some simple smash and grab for buried treasure. No, the stakes here were, well, they were everything. There was this fatal attraction to his rival, the real, genuine love he had for an innocent woman named Clarice, and a desperate, desperate fight for his life against an enemy who saw people as nothing more than pawns.
Right at the heart of this whole mess was the Cagliostro secret. For Joséphine, the legendary treasure was just a way to fund her massive ambitions for power. But for Raoul, it became personal. The game totally changed. He had to solve it first, not for the treasure, but just to stop her.
So how do you unlock this thing? Well, the key was this incredibly clever triple cipher, and the pieces were scattered across 3 objects that seemed to have nothing to do with each other. The real beauty of the puzzle wasn't just the clues, it was how physical they were. And see, this is the brilliant part. You couldn't just read the clues. You had to physically get your hands on all 3 objects, and then superimpose them, literally stack them one on top of the other, to make the final text appear. It's a classic mechanical puzzle, a real signature of Lupin's creator, Maurice Leblanc. But in this game of wits, Joséphine proves she'll stop at nothing. She plays dirty, she betrays Raoul, and uses his love for Clarice as a weapon against him. And this forces him to harden himself, to turn his raw, natural talent into a disciplined, rock-solid code of conduct. And that right there, that's the moment. This trial by fire forges the brilliant but reckless kid into the gentleman thief we all know. He sheds his old name, takes on the mantle of Arsène Lupin, and creates the personal code that will guide him for the rest of his life.
Okay, so now that he's got his code, his methods start to change, to evolve. Let's fast forward just a couple of years and see the master at work in a totally different kind of story. This is an absolute masterclass in manipulation.
This next story is what you'd call a perfect puzzle box mystery. The whole shebang, the entire thrilling plot, revolves around one single, totally ordinary object that just happens to hold a world of secrets.
So here's how it kicks off. A very modest, kind of timid politician named Jean Daspry grabs the wrong overcoat from a cloakroom. A simple, honest mistake, right? But it's a mistake that's about to change his life forever.
And he's a good guy. He's planning on returning it. But you know how it is. Curiosity wins. He checks the pockets, and suddenly his quiet little world gets turned completely upside down. He finds a loaded revolver, a coded message, and a very, very strange lottery ticket.
And just like that, boom. His life flips into a total nightmare. His apartment gets tossed, weird threats start showing up, and he realizes he's being hunted by this ruthless gang that thinks he's their rival. They want that coat back, and they will do anything to get it. But you've probably guessed it by now, right? None of this was an accident. Not a single bit. It was all a beautiful, perfectly orchestrated sting operation. And it shows us Lupin's method in action. He used this poor guy, Daspry, as a decoy, letting the gang chase a ghost while he just sat back and watched, only stepping in at the perfect moment to pull the rug out from under everyone.
And what's so cool about this story is that Lupin is barely even in it. He's not the hero we're following. He is the invisible puppet master. He's controlling everything from offstage, turning what looks like random chance into a perfectly choreographed dance, and you just know he is loving every second of the show.
Okay, so let's put these two stories next to each other, because when you do, you see this incredible evolution. You get two completely different portraits of the very same genius.
I mean, look at the difference. In his origin story, he's right there in the thick of it, this passionate hero fighting for love and his own survival, making it up as he goes. But later, he's a cool, detached puppet master playing an intricate game just for the thrill of it, all planned out meticulously. The whole feel shifts from this dark romantic epic to a fun, witty little caper.
So what does all this tell us? Why are we still talking about this guy over a century later? What's his secret?
Well, it really gets to the core of his genius, his whole philosophy. For Lupin, crime is a performance art, and the entire world is his stage. He gets what makes people tick, and he uses our own expectations, our own greed and curiosity against us. And for him, a perfect crime isn't one that goes unsolved. It's one that ends up protecting the innocent and exposing the people who are really guilty.
See, in the end, he didn't just become a legend by stealing things. He became a legend by writing his own story, by becoming the author of his own adventures. He grew from a man driven by passion into a myth who could literally bend reality to his will.
And that leaves us with the big question about Arsène Lupin, doesn't it? He shatters society's laws, but he lives by his own very strict moral code. And he often serves up a kind of justice the actual legal system just can't. Which really makes you wonder, can a hero who operates outside the law, by his own rules, still be a hero?